All right, y'all. Olive Garden fired server who's owed $700 in tips from one customer, man. They did this girl dirty according to social media. But listen, before we get into this video, I need you to like it before you like it, hit the sub before you hit the bud, join the team before you hit the green, and don't forget to hype me up. Cause it's the beginning of the week, man. I need them, bro.
I'm mad. I'm angry.
An Olive Garden stole a waitress's $700 tip, fired her, and then called the cops on her. This is a post made by Bunny Williams on FB. This is the mother. He writes, yesterday, my daughter received a $700 tip on a $30 tab and was obviously excited. The manager told her they could not pay it out yet and instructed her to write 0 on the tip line until it could be verified. What? She became upset because no one could tell her how long that would take. She asked a coworker to take her next table because she was visibly emotional, and management told her that she could either do her job or leave. She took the table and finished her shift. Later, they said they could give her 20% while the rest was reviewed. This morning, when she arrived to work, they decided to part ways over her behavior from yesterday and handed her paperwork stating tips over a certain amount are subject to manager. The server is a single mother to a 4-year-old autistic child, and the customer who tipped her was one of her regulars. She even posted proof of the receipt. They told her Happy Mother's Day up here, that it's been a while since they've seen her, glad that they could catch her. There's a little something to help you on your journey. Love and blessings, $700. So let's get Olive Garden's attention and get this girl her money.
Olive Garden has...
Bro, I hate Olive Garden. I ain't even gonna lie to y'all. I used to work at Olive Garden when I was 19 years old, bro, and they used to be on some BS in that place, bro. I'm not gonna hold y'all. I don't like Olive Garden, bro, but this never happened to me there. But if it did, I would have clicked out. I know I would have, because when I worked at Olive Garden, boy, I was on my ass. I was doing bad, bro. I didn't have nothing going, bro. And that $700 tip would have made me go crazy. What you mean I can't get my money right now? I'm sorry. 19-year-old Will would have clicked out. In fact, 35-year-old, 36 Will would have clicked out. And I understand why she did that, because, bro, it's rough out here. $700? Boy, most of y'all watching me right now go off if y'all got 700 and your manager talking about something. I gotta approve it. Man, please.
Responded to the $700 tip. And instead of making a post about it, they actually commented over on another creator's page. You can see here where they explain they were never planning on keeping the $700 tip. They just wanted to verify that it would actually go through. And it actually declined, they claim. So they were not ever going to be able to give that server that tip. Now, there are several other comments saying that the tip was actually left by the server's boyfriend. But if you guys remember, this is the ticket we were shown. It does not appear to be from a boyfriend. I don't know this girl, but if her boyfriend is just now telling her happy late Mother's Day, that is a very long time to not see the boyfriend. It also says right here is something to help you along with your journey. So insinuating that it is just a regular customer that has known this lady for a while. Now, again, this was Olive Garden's policy that they gave the girl to let her know that they had to do something more with these tips, just in case something like this happened, it declined, and they were out the $700. So while they haven't made their own video, they are making comments on other creators' videos. I don't know if it's the truth or not, because they have shown no proof. They've not even came out and done anything. That would be the best thing for them to do. This is what they've done so far.
A waitress who...
Hey, bro, listen. It's not uncommon for a server working at any restaurant to have regulars if they've been working there for any amount of time. For instance, if you go out to eat and like you get exceptional service from someone, you may be inclined to say, hey, man, listen, what's your name? When I come back here, I want you. And, you know, you take care of them and all that kind of stuff. And shit, I got servers like that at different places I go to. Boy, I'd be mad as hell if I left them a great tip and then come to find out the job talking about something we gotta verify it and all this kind of dumb shit, bro. You know what? I'm gonna leave it in cash. Crazy, bro. People hurting out here in these streets.
Was fired after a $700 tip dispute is now getting support from the customer who left the money, and she is preparing to sue Olive Garden for wrongful termination. The case started after a single mother said her daughter received a $700 tip on a bill of about $32. But instead of giving her the full amount, the restaurant said the tip had to be verified because it was over $500 and far above the check amount. Olive Garden later said the worker received a normal 20% tip first, while the rest would only be paid after the payment was confirmed. The company claimed the remaining amount was declined because of insufficient funds. But the customer who left the tip has now contacted the family and gave a different side. He said only about $38 came out of his account, and then Olive Garden allegedly tried to run the remaining $693 as a separate charge. He said his bank flagged and declined it because that was not how tips normally process. He also said he still plans to make sure the waitress gets the money. The waitress's family says the real issue is not just the tip, but how she was treated after getting upset. Now, she is expected to take legal action against Olive Garden, claiming she was unfairly fired after the situation became public. What do you think?
Okay, I know this is going to be unpopular, but my opinion on this whole viral Olive Garden firing fiasco is that Olive Garden wasn't really in the wrong. Please correct me if I'm wrong, but let me tell you why first. First of all, if you are not familiar with the story, there's this really viral story going around about this girl who got a $700 tip from a regular customer.
You sound like a hater.
Goes that Olive Garden didn't want to give her money, so she got upset, and then they fired her for being upset. So she got more upset, so they called the cops. I don't know what actually happened because none of us was there. But from what I've seen in all of the stories that I've seen, all the videos, is that Olive Garden has a policy that if you have a tip over a certain dollar amount or over a certain percentage higher than the check, they hold it for 120 days, which I think is a good, reasonable policy.
What? You sound stupid. 120 days? Do you know how many months that is? 30, 60, that's 4 months. It don't take no 4 months to verify no income, no funds, bro. She sounds stupid. She sound crazy as hell, bro. You really do. It don't take no damn 120 days. Wow. It don't take no 120 days if I go and swipe the card in there and I pay for my meal. They don't hold it for that long. So why they got to hold a tip that long? Boy, people find any reason to just go with these companies.
Reason why I think that Olive Garden is not in the wrong, because without this policy, people could just write in any dollar amount they want for a tip, and at some point either the restaurant is out that money, the customer is out that money, or the server is out that money. So Olive Garden holds that money for 120 days to make sure that the funds clear, and then they give it to the server. That's great. I think that's reasonable. There's nothing wrong with that. The second reason why I think Olive Garden wasn't really in the wrong is they didn't fire her for getting a $700 tip, which is what the stories would have you believe. They fired her for her reaction to their policy on the $700 tip. I'm not saying that I wanted her to get fired. That's sad. I don't want anybody to get fired. But in reality, you can't act that way. You can't react that way. You can't post to social media. You can't act like that and expect.
I want to know how bad did she react, because I ain't seen no videos of nobody showing her going crazy up in that place. And you know, everybody got a phone these days. That she would have made a scene, one of her coworkers or one of the people eating there, you know, would have recorded it. Real talk. I know how this go. Anytime you see a ruckus going on anywhere, somebody's recording. Where the video at, man? They find any reason to let you go at these places, dog. Shit, they let my black ass go. For real, bro.
To not get fired. Anybody would get fired in that situation. That's just the way the world works. Again, not saying I don't have sympathy for her or that I don't hope things work out really well for her. But I think people are kind of blowing up Olive Garden on social media for no reason.
Man, forget Olive Garden.
They didn't do anything wrong.
Company.
Anyways, weigh in the comments and let me know what you think.
We have a massive update in the $700 Olive Garden tip scandal. Olive Garden has now responded, as well as the person that left the tip, and someone that has allegedly spoken with this said manager. Now, this is the mom that had posted about her daughter receiving a $700 tip, but then Olive Garden would not give her the tip, saying it needed to be verified. And then when she came in work the next day, because she was emotional about not getting her tip, they fired her for her behavior. Someone said they spoke with a manager who appeared to be aware of the situation. Allegedly, they're saying that the credit card on file was fraudulent and or had insufficient funds.
They're gonna say
we'll
that.
Get to that. And they're saying that the tip is over $500, and in the handbook it says it needs to be verified, but no one has said that they have seen this in the handbook so far. They said the separation was due to a different circumstance, but when I requested to speak with HR, he aggressively hung up on me.
Hey, the handbook situation, bro, most places, they know you're not finna read page by page, line by line, everything that's in that handbook. They get you to sign it, you know, in bad faith, straight up, because they know you're not going to read it. It's like the fine print anytime you do anything online. They know you are not about to read 32 pages of small lines. They know you're not finna do that. That's how they get you, bro. The bold print giveth and the fine print taketh.
As this was where she was allegedly crying because she was upset that she wasn't getting her tip. Now, Olive Garden commented themselves on Abby Blabby's post, and to protect our guests and team members from fraud, we have a policy in place to verify tips over $500 or far above the check amount. When a tip like this is given, the team member immediately receives a 20% tip on the check, and the remaining amount is provided once payment is sufficiently confirmed. In this case, we found our policy for a tip exceeded 2,000% on a $32 check, and we have verified that the tip amount was declined due to insufficient funds. This team member was not terminated because of the tip that was left on the check, and we have shared all the information directly with her.
Sure.
I'm going to do part 2 right after this because the person that left the tip has contacted the mom and gave their side of the story.
So as we all know, there are two sides to every story. Remember my story earlier about the server who was terminated? Allegedly, these are all allegations for educational purposes only. Well, Olive Garden has responded, and here's what they had to say. They go on to say that the $700, that $700 isn't there. And I have also seen another comment. Now, these are all allegations because for educational purposes only, because I just tell you guys what I hear and what I see on TikTok. But somebody had commented earlier and said the person who left the $700 tip was her boyfriend. Now, I don't know if that's true. That could be hearsay. But let me get out of the way. You guys can pause to read, check out what Olive Garden has to say. I love Olive Garden personally. I'm a big fan. I don't know the whole story on this. There's two sides to every story, so you guys can. I just show you guys what I think and what I hear. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. And like always, make sure you're following at Coach Miller 0 and at Coach Miller 4. Who knows? Maybe they want to give Coach Miller a brand deal.
Man, bro, Olive Garden, listen, is a big ass, massive corporation. They own multiple brands. They own Olive Garden. I want to say they also own Applebee's. They own all kind of stuff, dog. They're a big restaurant, corporation, HR. Nothing they do is to protect them or the customer. Everything they do is to enrich themselves and make sure that they keep on getting that money. They don't give a shit about you or the customer.
People want it for your risk score.
We have a massive update in the $700 Olive Garden tip scandal. Olive Garden has now responded, as well as the person that left the tip and someone that has allegedly spoken with this said manager. Now, this is the mom that had posted about her daughter receiving a $700 tip, but then Olive Garden would not give her the tip, saying it needed to be verified. And then when she came in work the next day, because she was emotional about not getting her tip, they fired her for her behavior. Now, someone said they spoke with a manager who appeared to be aware of the situation. Allegedly, they're saying that the credit card on file was fraudulent and or had insufficient funds. We'll get to that. They're saying that the tip was over $500, and in the handbook it says it needs to be verified, but no one has said that they have seen this in the handbook so far. They said the separation was due to a different circumstance, but when I requested to speak with HR, he aggressively hung up on me.
Exactly.
Because this was where
They hung up on you because they cannot give you any reason to believe that they're lying. They have to protect the best interests of the company.
Was allegedly crying because she was upset that she wasn't getting her tip. Now, Olive Garden commented themselves on Abby Blabby's post, and to protect our guests and team members from fraud, we have a policy in place to verify tips over $500 or far above the check amount.
Wasn't that originally there was insufficient funds? But her daughter asked them, why wouldn't you just run the initial amount all at the same time? Why did you have to do two separate transactions? And she said that they didn't really have a response for that. They were wondering about the fact that Olive Garden basically chose the tip amount for the customer at 20%, and she asked, like, are you allowed to just pick and choose what my tip amount is? And they told her that the customer would need to take that up with his bank, and there wasn't really much else information they provided. After all of this, she still has friends that work at Olive Garden, and she got a phone call about how the Olive Garden had a team meeting to discuss how this was all a scam. They said that the customer was running a scam and that the entire situation was fraudulent. She says that one of their friends from the internet called the store and spoke to the manager about this entire situation, where he said the same thing to her, that this entire situation was fraudulent and that the customer's card had insufficient funds. He then claimed that her daughter was fired over something outside of the tip incident. So this is all just absolutely insane. The name is Bunny Williams. Again, if you'd like to go watch the entire video, let me know your thoughts.
Hey, bro, one thing about these jobs, bro, if they can't get you on something, maybe they just don't like you. Trust me, if they can fire you over something that they normally wouldn't fire someone that they actually want to keep, but they did it, they will. Prime example, bro. You can be doing all kind of stuff at the job, right? But they don't like your attitude. Things that other people have gotten away with in the past, let you do it. They're going to fire you, bro. And I feel like that's what they did. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes these companies really don't like you at all.
Hey, y'all. So I have been getting so many requests for the update on if she received the actual $700 from the guy that initially wrote the tip down. And the answer is no. The short answer is no. There has been additional communication, but my daughter feels like that at this point, she's just embarrassed. It's just a lot that's happening. She feels like obviously she's been wronged, and we're taking steps to try to figure that part out. So for everybody that's given us information on what we need to do next, that's how this all started, me asking what the protocol was. So thank you for that.
All
and
right.
We're going through those channels to do that. But when Mama Tot reached out and asked for her Cash App, people have been able to generously donate for that. And then they've also donated on another platform. And she straight up told me, I'm not asking him for any money. That would just be greedy. And I mean, I agree. The guy said that they could work it out, but she said no. And the scamming part, she reached out to him, sent him a message, and was on pins and needles waiting for him to respond to the question or to the statement that she made to him. And he did, but he didn't do it right away because he has a job. He's not out there scamming people. So with all of the negativity and all the things that have been going on and said about my daughter and people from her job and all the things that have happened, she's pretty much over it. She's actually actively interviewing, which she should be. But I will leave at the end of this message exactly what that last conversation was between the two of them. So it's a grown man with a grown man's answer, and you'll see. But also, one of the things that I wanted to point out too was someone mentioned that she called him when all of this was happening, and she called me. She sure did. At that same time, we were on the phone for about 8 minutes, and I'm not a crybaby mama. I'm not trying to hear it. Whatever the policy was, then that's what it is, and we'll talk about it later. We'll figure out it later. Go back to work is what I told her, and she did.
I respect that.
I'm not ever going to apologize for being her safety net, because that's what we're here for. We're mamas. That's what we do. So for everybody that has anything negative to say, I mean, nobody's ever trying to hide anything. Whatever happened in the past, whatever beef she had with anybody, that's their beef. We're talking about what happened right now. Hey,
and my thing is this: a lot of people are making a big deal out of her making a big deal. A lot of y'all ain't never gave nobody no money before or did a kind gesture. I've done things for people and seen people get emotional over $20, $25, $30 and say, oh my God, thank you so much. You for real? You didn't have to do this. I've seen that for little amounts of money. I can only imagine if somebody going through something financially and you give them $700, bro, only to have it taken away from them because of management policies and all that kind of shit. They gonna go crazy. I already know, dog. I already know, especially here in New Orleans. I know they ain't from New Orleans, but man, if I was to go and give a regular person $700 at a restaurant, bro, they might start crying. Dead ass serious. Off the emotions of me giving it to them. And then you go and take it. They probably gonna flip some furniture up in that thing, man.
Just imagine what would actually have happened if they swiped that card for the whole entire amount. You wouldn't be seeing my face right now. Imagine that, because that's 100% of the truth. So check out the message. Love y'all. Bye for now.
All right, what does it say? Anything else I can do to help with your situation? Can attach a screenshot of the updated charge when I get off work. Thank you. They told me it was no longer their concern. Wow. People think you're my ex and this is a scam. This screenshot ain't going to do nothing, though. If people going to think that, then that's what they're going to think. They're going to say the message fake or anything. Should just stop listening to what everybody talking about and take the steps needed for real results versus responding to people on social media. But no, I am not your boyfriend, I guess, and I do not scam. Thank you for justifying that.
I have never had a video get this many views, but it does make me happy that the story got out and so many people are anti Olive Garden after what happened to that poor server who was tipped $700 by a regular customer. And obviously the manager was trying to steal the tip. Now I could see running the card and waiting to see if it goes through, but they fired her before they could do that. So they gave her $6. They said, you get 20% on the tip. So the bill was $32. They gave her $6. And then the next day after she was fired, they tried to run the card for $693, and they didn't have the card in their hand at that point. So they were just typing in the number, which is shady as fuck anyway.
How would they get the number though? Because when you swipe the card, well, maybe the managers can see the whole number, but on the receipt, for sure, you ain't gonna see the whole number because, you know, for protection purposes. How did they get the whole damn card number? Did they call the guy? I don't know.
The video that I made about it, Olive Garden posted on, and they are definitely, like, company-wide, as of yesterday, defending the manager. But then I heard today that the manager got fired and they rehired the server and she got her money. So that's good. It had a good ending. So please tip your servers in cash. I will make a second video explaining why you should always tip in cash and not put it on your card. There's multiple things that could happen. You could add wrong, and then your server gets screwed. That's like the biggest thing that happens, but there are other issues. So I'll make another video to explain.
An Olive Garden stole a waitress's $700.
Yeah, man. So look, that's what it is. Y'all get the gist of the video, bro. Dog, if you think these companies are loyal and they care about you, they don't. And I'm keeping it real with you, man. You got to look out for you and yours. You know what I'm saying? Because if you don't get yours, they're going to get theirs. So I'd rather you get yours and they don't get nothing. Holla at your boy. Don't forget to hype me up. You feel me?
Hype me up. Hype me up. Hype me up.